of my life is called.
Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over this very educational email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he doesn't say how old he is, but I'm guessing bare minimum 40s, maybe even 50s. Married a couple times, has a kid, all that. And he writes in to share 31 things he's learned through dating and marriages and divorce. What guys need to know about the whole big picture. Marriage, divorce, women, all that. And it's really, really, really good. Matches a lot of things I've been talking about on this channel for 6 years now. And I want to point out that he's relatively new to the channel, the community. He sent this in originally to another channel, but they didn't go over it, either because it slipped through the cracks or they weren't interested, so their loss is our gain. And I'm going to go through this here with minimal commentary because this is very long, but it really hits the nail on the head. And for all you guys out there that are relationship guys, this is very important for things to know about the dating process, women in general, and marriage and divorce. And for all you guys out there that are now forever bachelors or have walked away completely, well, this will reinforce exactly why you've walked away completely, and you can pat yourself on the back as you hear this thing. You'll back up everything why you've chosen the life you have. Now, like I said, guys, this is really long. I mean, really, really long. So I'm going to be splitting this up into 2 parts. This is 31 things he's learned, and so I'll do 1 through 15 right now, and then the 16 through 31 on the next video, which will be 1 hour from now. So jumping right into it, he says here, greetings SSM, and all you poor dumb a-holes thinking about getting married in today's Western world. Have you ever heard the saying, a wise man can learn from the mistakes of others, but a fool learns only from his own? Listen to some of my mistakes and try to be wise enough not to make them yourself. No one wants to hear my autobiography, not even me, so I'm going to arrange this by lessons learned and then back it up by events from my marriages and other things I've seen with my own eyes. Some of these are mistakes I've made, some of them are things I've gotten caught up in through no fault of my own other than getting married. With luck, it won't be boring this way, but if your eyes glaze over, go ahead and tune out. I will not be offended. Why would anybody listen to what I have to say? I'm a bonehead, as evidenced by my marriage history. At least you can admit it, and you're taking what you've learned the hard way, helping others. Fair enough. And it sounds like you're still married, so if you are and it's that bad, get out. But we'll come to that later. And if I'm mistaken and you're actually divorced, well, good for you. Don't get married again. This is not a comprehensive guide to everything you need to know about dating and marriage. It's only what I've learned myself. It says, number 1, do not ignore the red flags. Where have you all heard that before? If you're looking at a serious, committed, long-term relationship, don't wave off your concerns as not really a big deal, or that's just the way she is. Or, I can teach you to be better, or I can deal with it. Trust your gut, and if you have any concerns about the way she acts, any concerns at all, do not commit. You can always put off marriage a bit and see if things do get better. They don't. It's not the way to bet. The red flags are not going to get better. You're not going to teach her to be responsible. You're not going to train her, a term beloved by oh so many content creators. Maybe that worked at another time, but we're living in the early 21st century America. Women have unlimited social and legal support, all telling them that they're perfect and that any man who tries to control them is an abuser. Nailed it. It gets worse. Now, new red flags can spring up from her friends or from movies or because she feels secure or just because she's bored. After my first marriage and a couple girlfriends after that, I had a list of red flags to watch out for. The girlfriend who became my second wife had a clean check on all of them. And then after we got married, had 2 incomes, the spending ramped up. And she no longer just took care of the problems, but dumped everything on me. And so on. And it hasn't gotten better after almost 20 years of marriage. Then what the hell are you still married to her for? But we'll come back to that later. Just be aware of it, is all I can tell you. Wave off if you see a red flag before commitment. Bail or put up with it if you see it after commitment. Number 2, bad with money. One of the most obvious red flags is being bad with money is also one of the most common. Well, most women are bad with money. Some are good. They're usually in the financial industry. Some of the signs are subtle, like carrying a limited edition name brand purse. Can you tell the difference between a $5,000 purse and a $30 purse? I certainly cannot. Others are clear, like having 30 pairs of shoes. 30? That's small, dude. Try fucking 300. Others are beyond clear. When your girlfriend tells you that she doesn't know how she's going to pay the rent this month, but you know that she made an unnecessary $1,000 purchase last month, you can be sure that she either has no self-control or no ability to perform the basic reasoning or math. Or above all, embrace the power of and. One girlfriend of mine bought a piano on one of her first dates. Not a used one, a new one from a music store, over $5,000 in today's dollars. She waffled a bit about whether she could afford it, but then persuaded herself that she could cut expenses a bit. Of course, as it worked out, she didn't cut expenses at all. Get rid of the cable TV question mark? Are you kidding? But here's the kicker. She was a public school teacher and her income went to almost zero over the summer, and she was barely keeping up with expenses during the school year. No self-control, no ability to perform basic reasoning. Because people use emotion makes the decisions of making purchases. And she convinced herself. And women are naturally emotional more than men, so there you go. And she probably expected you or some boyfriend to help subsidize her during the summertime. Related to this, if your girlfriend needs bailouts from her parents or brothers, she's not a keeper. A one-time bailout for an emergency is one thing, especially if she's young and hasn't had much chance to build up a rainy day fund. It's entirely different if she's in her late 20s and still needs daddy to send $1,000 every month. Bingo! Or how about her fucking 40s and doing that? Also related to this is complaining about you saving money and not spending it. Translation, you're not spending it on her. I hope this does not need to be explained. Even I, dumbass though I am, recognized this red flag the first time I saw it. Yeah, a good woman will be happy you're saving money and showing responsibility. A bad woman will be pissed off because you're not taking her on vacation. And this is why you don't let them know how much money you make and how much money you have, because they're thinking, the gold digger's thinking, shit, he should be spending it on me. Another sign is having no plan for the future beyond it will work itself out. God has a plan for me, or well, I'm not part of that plan, and my wallet is especially not part of that plan, so you have a nice day. Number 3, separate bank accounts. A bank account for you, an account for her, and a joint account for paying the bills. Hey, freaking man, I've been saying all this shit since the beginning, most of you guys know, but I'm going to say, I'll reinforce that. A credit card for you that you're responsible for, and a credit card for her that she is responsible for. A retirement account, you get the picture. If the apartment or house is in your name and you pay all the bills, and you don't need a joint account. When you get engaged, and sometimes even when you start living together, there's a good chance that she'll suggest joint accounts. Because we're sharing everything now. Followed by, don't you trust me? Followed by, I don't know if we can be together if you can't even do this. Yeah, and a weak-ass bitch guy will be like, okay, and cave, and you know the rest. All that there is another of those big red flags we talk about. It's not guaranteed that she's planning on looting the account or running away with your money, but it's certain that she's looking out for number 1 and is keeping her exit plan ready. My purpose here is to give men things to protect themselves, but a lot of the advice goes both ways. Separate accounts protect wives just as much as husbands. It's possible for the husband to blow through the family savings because he just had to have that new boat. But I don't think I've seen that in a couple over the age of 25. If a woman loses her savings, it's more likely it's because she fell for a scammer. Gotta love the bad boys, right? The only exception to separate accounts I can think of is her having a credit card in your name so you can monitor for suspicious spending. But really, if you have so little trust in your wife that you need to do that, why are you still together? There's a good question, because guys think with their dicks. Or guys think because she's the only girl that ever liked me, so therefore I gotta put up with her bullshit and marry her. Wrong. Number 4, excuses and accountability. Women and accountability is a well-known problem, at least in the modern world. No, that's been going on since the fucking Garden of Eden. Eve was like, it's not my fault the motherfucker took a bite out of the apple. Nope, don't blame me, God. It was the fucking snake that told me to do that, you get the point. My first wife was the queen of excuses. I don't know, maybe I dated your wife before you. I brought it up one time in the context of it being extremely annoying, as well as the same problems coming up time and time again, because she never tried to fix what she was doing that caused the problems. Because in her mind, she doesn't do anything wrong. Like repeated missed appointments, and she told me there are good reasons why I make excuses. Her excuses for excuses? I had to laugh at the ridiculousness of it, but I gave up on trying to change anything and pretty much gave up on the marriage. I hesitate to list excuse-making as a red flag because it's almost universal among women. Instead, call it a big green flag if a woman really admits to having screwed up this and tries to fix the problems or get better. If a woman admits that she's fucked up and is going to take action to fix things, then that's pretty rare, pretty good, guys. There are some that do. 5. Be careful about long-term relationship with someone from a low-trust society. We in the West have been fortunate enough to live in a high-trust society. Most people could be expected to keep promises because that was the social norm. Most people would usually do what's good for everyone because that's just what we did. We've been losing that for a few decades, and we're moving closer to the world norm of not being able to trust your neighbors and coworkers. My second wife was Chinese. Well, she's still Chinese. Cut me some slack. Aside from the cultural surprises that you'd expect, there was a low-trust society conflict. No, you can't cut the flowers from the house's front yard to put in your kitchen table. No, you can't just offer the cop a few dollars to make the traffic ticket go away. There was no one big problem coming from this, just a steady stream of stressors, putting more strain on the marriage. It was a matter of her constantly trying to work the system to get something, whether signing up for multiple Netflix free trial subscriptions in a row, using the kids' names, or trying to get the kid classified as special needs in order to get free to us all-day preschool. I've seen the same with a number of Indian acquaintances, working the system to get their kids in a better school district in the neighboring city, or get an entire housing development streets closed down for a block party when most of the neighborhood isn't invited because they're not Indian. Be aware of this. It will be an issue if you get this to the woman from most of the non-Western world. Okay, perfect example. And guys, for anybody that dare label this racist, please go someplace else. But anyhow, it ain't me saying this. There's going to be some asshole that's going to come on and be like, picking on Indians or Chinese people. No, we're not. God's sakes. Number 6, look at her friends. Damn right. They say that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not entirely true, but it's close enough to work with. Look at your girl or wife's friends. Does she go to lunch with women who've been divorced 3 times? Brag about cheating on every boyfriend they've ever had? Or preach the wonders of an open marriage? That's a big, giant red flag. Do your wife's friends constantly complain about the patriarchy and demand that women stop doing anything for men? Again, that's a big red flag. Less extreme, does your girlfriend hang out with a bunch of losers? Do her friends all have college degrees and worthless subjects, a mountain of debt and low-end jobs that they can barely pay their bills every month? No boyfriend, even though they want one. They're in their 20s and they aren't horrible looking. And they spend all their time on complaints and excuses rather than looking at what they need to do to make things better. Why would your girl want to be around them? Well, probably because they make her feel better about herself. Like, look at these losers. So seriously. And drama. Does she spend time with them because she's like that too? Is it because she needs someone to feel superior to? Ding, ding, ding. It's a bad sign either way. On the other hand, if your wife's friends with a handful of slightly older wives who've been happily married for 10 or 20 years, and she talks about the child-raising tips she gets from them, that's a big green flag. Yes, it is. My first wife's friends, while we were dating, were mostly losers. All were broke because they were spending beyond their income, which was pathetic because they had no useful skills despite their college degrees. Almost all were overweight and messy, showing that they didn't take care of themselves. All were full of complaints and excuses. I would continue to hang out with them after we were together. I don't know whether they encouraged her in wasteful spending and general irresponsibility, but they certainly didn't help anything. Now here's a question. Was your first wife fat, or did she get fat because all her friends were like that? Most of my second wife's friends were educated upper-class Chinese, tiger moms, successful by most standards, advanced college degree, career, husband with a career, nice house, nice cars, 2 kids. They appear to be happy, long-lasting relationships. Bullshit. Until the kids grew up. Then the family broke apart, or maybe the husband had gone overseas for work for a month. A few years before, and never came back. The point is, hardly any of her friends are still in intact marriage after the youngest child turned 18. Well, probably the husbands ran for the fucking hills, being married to the tiger mamas. As for the parenting wisdom bestowed by the friends, only a few of my first wife's friends ever had kids. The tiger momming of my second wife's friends resulted in impressive standardized test scores and college admission packets. Ivy League colleges only, of course. And every one of the kids stopped playing the violin or piano once they were out of mommy's thumb. They no longer do community service activities. So if you got the tiger moms, what are the fucking dads like? Probably a bunch of submissive pansies. They don't even have much to do with their mothers other than visit once a year and send email for birthdays and Mother's Day. These kids got their Ivy League degrees, but as citizens and human beings, they are worse than the kids of the normal middle-class American parents. 7. You versus her friends. Another issue about friends is how important your wife's friends are to her. Specifically, how important they are relative to how important you are. If your wife listens to her friends and not to you, that's a problem. If she prioritizes time with her friends over time with you, that's a problem. If your wife starts treating you differently because of something her friend said, that's a big problem. Yep, you, the husband, should come first. Always. Even before her father or brothers. My experience, both personal and what I've seen, is that there's no point in talking to your wife about this. She'll either scream that you're being controlling, or tell you, of course, you're the most important person to her, while not changing her behavior at all. You need to either give back what she gives to you. Don't listen when she says she wants something and make your plans without involving her, or else skip that step and just walk away. And I say walk away. A couple special cases to the above. If your wife or girlfriend accuses you of grape or other bad things based on her friends giving her the modern revised definition of grape, or if she constantly accuses you of cheating based on signs of cheaters that her friends told her about, or if she brings up an open marriage because her friends told her about how great it is, you walk away right there. Damn right, sir. You are welcome to this community because, well, you share the views of all of us. The relationship is dead because she was weak-minded enough to let her friends kill it. Number 8, keep evidence. Take notes on events in your relationship. Keep records of expenses. This goes against the grain for most people, between not wanting to bother and not wanting to reduce the relationship to a series of transactions. In a perfect world, you wouldn't have to. Well, it's not a perfect world, and marriage certainly isn't perfect. And guess what? All marriages are business deals. I don't care what anybody fucking says about that. It's the truth. Truth hurts. In today's world, you need to be prepared for your girl or wife to turn on you at any time and bring the cops and agencies in. If you can show that you've been putting $2,000 every month into the household expense account, you can demonstrate that you live there, even if all the bills are in her name. If you can show that you've been taking the kids to the piano lessons every week for 2 years while your wife stayed home to clean, i.e. take a nap, then you have evidence that you've done more parenting than she has and have a better claim at custody. Whether the judge chooses to ignore that is another matter, but without the records, you have almost no chance of custody. It's like playing Russian roulette with the judges, whether they're going to side with the father. Good fucking luck. On the plus side, keeping notes will help you remember some of the good times and will let you give surprise gifts on silly anniversaries. If you're separated and have kids, keep track of exactly when the kid is with you versus with her. Especially keep notes on when she keeps the kids from you, demands extra money before she allows you to see them, and makes you drive an entire 400 miles to get the kid rather than meet a halfway point required by the custody order. Yep, sleazy shit they do. Along the same lines, make recordings whenever you think bullshit is incoming, whether a screaming tirade with things being thrown or an overheard conversation with one of your wife's friends telling her how to make it look if you've been abusing her. If she's throwing things at you, you should be divorcing her. Because believe me, if a guy was throwing things at her, she'd be divorcing him. Keep all texts that she sends you. You wouldn't think anyone with an IQ higher than a hamster would send extortion threats by text, but they do. Lengthy messages which constitute verbal and emotional abuse, too. Forward the messages to a computer or make screenshots and send those in case something happens to your phone. Again, on the plus side, keeping messages can be reminders of the good times. Number 9, report problems. If your wife or girlfriend threatens to use violence, threatens to file a police report about you, threatens to call CPS, or gets a restraining order, tell somebody immediately. Write in your notebook too, but tell a friend or your lawyer right away. Make sure that someone knows in April that she threatened to use the legal system against you, so that when she files for a restraining order in July, someone will be able to tell the judge that it has been pre-planned. Get a recording of the threats if possible. It usually won't be, but maybe your wife is stupider than most. Well, she probably isn't. 10. The system is not your friend. Yes. All that said, your mountain of records and recordings and testimony by acquaintances might not matter at all. The system is not your friend. The system is not your friend. Again, I'm going to say it again. All aspects of the legal establishment default to supporting women and treating men as the bad guys when it comes to domestic conflict. I mean it. All aspects, from the cops who will arrest a man after he called 911 to report that his wife threw boiling water at him, to the family court judges and mediators who refuse to look at your records all those times that your ex-wife has kept your kids from you. Yeah, man, you're welcome in this community. All aspects include the lawyer that you are paying to represent your interests to family court. My first child custody lawyer refused to push the family court to follow the written law because I have to work with them tomorrow and next week for other clients. I had no success at all in reporting lawyers and judges for ethical or financial problems, and no success at all in getting the state attorney, general, or legislators to look at all the malice or incompetence of the child support collection agencies. However, this was many years ago, and I used only simple approaches like letters to the State Bar Association. Damn, dude, you've been through a lot of shit, and we're only 1/3 through this whole thing. Number 11, the marriage contract. It is said by many people, including the person reading this on camera, that marriage is a one-sided contract, and that men would have to be idiots to sign up for that. That's not quite right. A contract is an agreement that can be enforced by law. That's really all there is to it. It requires each party to do something. The something can be providing a service, providing goods, paying money, refraining from taking an action, or other things which would have been seen as having value. In marriage, there are very seldom any promises to earn at least $80,000 per year or to keep the house clean. Pretty much the only explicit promise are to love, honor, and obey. Yeah. I don't know as those promises have been enforced since the founding of the USA. There's also forsake all others, but even that's gone by the wayside since no-fault divorces came in. In the absence of promises, there are still expectations, and that's where the contract-like experience starts to bite. Even in the era of legal equality and boss bitches, the general expectation of the husband is that he'll earn enough money to support the family. He'll make sure that the wife has money of her own to spend as she sees fit. He'll shovel the driveway and mow the lawn and fix things that need fixing. If he doesn't do all that, he'll be mocked by her and her friends. But who cares what those bitches think, right? And it can also be used as legal grounds to show that he's being financially abusive, that he's neglecting his responsibilities, and blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, well what about when she doesn't vacuum? Or fucking scrub the toilet? Or cook a meal? What expectations are there on the wife's side? Sweet fuck all, that's what. Since I put it that way, let's start with fucking, which is one of the main reasons that men have gotten married since marriage was invented. I'm certainly not in favor of a husband being able to throw his wife down whenever he wants, and she has no recourse, but I'm equally against the wife putting out once a month and saying that he can just deal with it. States that don't have a no-fault divorce usually provide for a lack of sex as grounds for divorce. Thing is, judges don't like to grant divorce on those grounds. I have no idea why, but they don't. I use constructive abandonment as the grounds after I'd given up on my marriage and filed for divorce. The family court judge refused it. Fortunately, it took so long to get that from filing to the hearing that by that point she'd been out of the house for a year, so I was able to amend the divorce petition and get it done. Other expectations of the wife might keep the house clean and making meals if she's a stay-at-home mom, doing her share of the chores if she works, contributing to the household budget if she works, and not spending so much that there's no money left to pay the bills. I think that you'll find that failure to meet those expectations has no penalty at all in any legal sense. Just try to get a divorce on the grounds that your wife spent the mortgage money on a vacation. Just try to get the custody of the kids on the grounds that your wife is ditching them with her mother every day so she can go hang out with her friends and shop. But on the other side, if you stop putting money in the family account and start paying the bill straight from your account, she can file for divorce and maintenance because you've been financially abusive. If you lose your job because of the economy or because you got hurt and you can't bring enough money to keep up with the bills, she can get court orders not only throwing you out of the house, but making you pay the bills from the income that you don't have. But just try filing a lawsuit to make your wife pay back the $10,000 she got when she took your collectibles out of the attic and sold them. It's bullshit and it's no sense fair, but that's family court in today's America. Bottom line, marriage is not a one-sided contract, but it might as well be. So, that's 11 things, guys. If you're thinking about getting married still, smack yourselves. Number 12. Women's weapons are allowed, but men's are not. What is a man's instinctual way to deal with conflict? Physical force. Intimidation through size or fierceness. What is a woman's instinctual way to deal with conflict? Nagging, manipulation, lying, getting others to gang up on someone. Which of those is against the law? Which of those is not addressed by the law? Which is generally condemned by society? Which is shrugged off, and that's the way they are. There's not much to be done about it. Just be aware of it when you are a woman disagree. Number 13. Don't be too accommodating. This is for all you nice guys out there. It is normal to want to keep your partner happy. Smack! Why'd you say partner? And to do little things for her and give in on little things to keep the peace. This goes both ways. Women will go out of their way to do things for their men, and sometimes they'll give in when they and their husbands have different plans or priorities. She'll give in early on to impress him and when she's trying to get him, but when she thinks she has him, she ain't going to give in. Cynically, I'll add, women will do nice little gestures when they still have the tingles, or as part of a calculated mood to make themselves seem high value. Some women continue to give in to what their husband wants even after the honeymoon phase. But they're older, 50s or above, and not many of them, but maybe I'm just cynical bastard after seeing so many unhappy failed marriages. Anyway, even if it's something that you don't really care about, don't make a habit of going along with your wife or girlfriend's requests or demands. The could you help me with or request often turns into a repeated request, a demand, or full-on temper tantrum if you don't do what she wants the first time she asks. My first wife was a music person. She'd be a member of a drum and bugle corps 200 miles away since before we met. After we got together, even in the dating phase and the honeymoon phase, she had to go to her drum and bugle corps practices and performances almost every weekend, 5 months a year. Damn. Leave Friday evening, get back Sunday evening, eat whatever I cooked, and pass out. Our work schedules didn't line up well, so if I wanted to spend time with my wife, I needed to go with her. It wasn't terrible, but it consumed the entire weekend and kept me from doing anything productive or just anything that I might have wanted to do. Fuck that, man. I would never have gotten in a relationship, let alone married someone like that. She's gone every weekend, 5 months of the year, and the only time you get to see her is you go along with her to this thing, and conflicting work schedules. Dude, were you fucking desperate or something? I had no concerns that she was having an affair. They can always squeeze one in, brother. I did kind of look into that a couple times, just basic precaution. No, it was just that they were more important to her than I was. Reference the friend section. My second wife's big activity was church stuff. Hallelujah. All day church on Sunday, and she dragged the kids along. All dinners at the church or parties or a member's house many times per year. Again, if I wanted to spend any time with the family, I needed to go along. Praise the Lord. A few times I did other things with the boys, but they had friends in the church group, and going to multi-family parties was more fun than staying home and had me show them how to change the car's oil, so they usually wanted to go. That's another aspect of don't be too accommodating. If you and she have different views on religion, don't go along just because she feels more strongly about it than you do. Better don't get married if you have greatly different religions, social or political views. Better yet, don't get married at all. There's an idea. Yeah, guys, you guys share the same religious faith. If you're an atheist, marry a fucking atheist. If you're Catholic, marry another Catholic. You get the point. Or keep it close in the same umbrella of the religion. You know, when you have people with two different religious backgrounds and there's pressure for the guy to convert, no, don't do that. And politics, you can't have someone on the far left get together with someone on the far right. It'll end up in the newspaper or the evening news of what happens there. Ideally, you get conservatives or you get liberals together or people there in the middle. You get the point. The second wife also had a habit of signing the kids up for lessons and activities. I also mentioned that she's Chinese, and she's the paragon of a tiger mom. And then they'd be too busy to take them. I'd be pushed to take my one son to piano lesson or pick the other one up from swim practice. It started small and occasional, but increased until I was shuttling the kids 5 days a week. Oh, fun. Not only are kids but my wife's friends' kids in the same activity who don't live too far from us. This is on top of working 40, 50 hours a week and taking care of the yard and cars and fixing up the house and doing half of the cooking and dishes, mind you. Smack. Why the fuck did you go along with that? Oh, you didn't want Tiger Mom yelling at you? Hell with that. Be a man. What I should have done, okay, here we go, was put my foot down and say that I wouldn't be involved in any activity I hadn't signed up the kids for. What I did do was go along with the bullshit because it was the practical thing to do. Smack! P-whipped. No, he went for the happy life thing. Did you have a happy life? I think not. We'd have to pay for the lesson whether or not the kid went, so it would be wasting money to not take them. The other kids' parents are working and couldn't come get the kids, so if I didn't take them home, they'd be stuck at the place with no ride. Not your fucking problem. Tell them to fucking leave. Related to all this is division of chores. If both of you are working, which is the norm these days, and you have the chores casually divided up roughly equally, there'll be times when your girlfriend isn't feeling good, so you'll do her chores as well as yours. Presumably, it goes the other way too. There'll be times when she wants to go visit her friend to see the new baby, so you take care of the laundry and vacuuming even though it's her turn, because you don't want to be a jerk and tell her no. But where do you say that's enough? When being down with the flu once a year is sliding into, I'm tired and I can deal with the mess twice a week. Yeah, chores can be split up. Generally, guys do the outside shit and maintenance of the cars and the yard work and fixing stuff, fine. And you can do other things, but she's got to do it too. End of fucking story. And by the way, guys, here's a real test. You live in a part of the country where it snows. If her ass isn't helping you shovel snow or putting salt on the sidewalk or driveway, that'll tell you something about your girl. That's one of the first fucking tests. A good girlfriend will come out and shovel the fucking snow with you. That's a test. Key, very important. More generally, this boils down to who does how much of the family. It's good for a young husband to be hustling and working long hours to bring in money while he's got the energy. But just how long should he be working 60 hours a week, pay the bills, and set extra aside for a mortgage down payment while she's working 30, and then not doing all the household chores? I don't really know what to tell anybody, male or female. On the one hand, you don't want to be a jerk and refuse your partner's reasonable request for you to do something. You don't want to make the shade of paint in the dining room wall the hill to die on. You don't want to disappoint your small kids when mommy promised that daddy will take them to the zoo today. You don't want to wreck the relationship over one small thing. Well, you got to stand your fucking ground. And guess what? Mom doesn't run the relationship, but she clearly did in your house. But you don't want to be turned into a servant either, with them calling all the shots in the marriage because you're reasonable and they aren't. You don't want the one small thing to become an unending series of small things. It's a tough call, and I don't know that there is a general solution. The solution, brother, and all the brothers, is be a fucking man. End of story. You can be fair, but you reciprocate. If she's being a little tyrant, well, you fucking fight the tyrant, okay? Or you shouldn't have gotten together the tyrant to begin with. But a good wife or girlfriend will split things up with you. And if you're working all the time and she's not working at all, your ass ain't vacuuming or cooking fucking dinner because you're paying all the goddamn bills, doing the grind, the commute, all that. 14. If you want kids, women are the only game in town. Well, until robots can start having kids for us, which I apparently read in China they're starting that. Maybe you should have done that instead of gotten your Chinese wife, dude. The title says it all. Sure, there's adoption and there's taking in your sister's kids when she can't handle them, but it's not the same as your own descendant. Your mileage may vary on that. Some say otherwise, but I don't, if that's real or cope. So if you want kids of your own, you need a woman. You might also be able to work out some kind of a surrogate mother deal, but those contracts don't hold up in court if the mother decides that she wants to keep the kids. Yeah, that happens. She doesn't have to give back the money either, and you may be on the hook for child support. Practically, you need to get with a woman long term, and that means realizing that you need to grit your teeth and put up with her shit for years. No, you don't. Women do not respect weakness. You act like a pussy, she's going to treat you like one. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some unreasonable assholes out there. This is why you spend years getting to know them and having your own type of male test to see if they're going to pass. My own experience is that I never would have gotten married if I didn't want kids. The result is that I've earned several $1 million over my working life. Oh, good for you, brother. That's awesome. You may decide it's worth it or to have kids just to go into it with your eyes open. But I'll tell you, if artificial wombs ever hit the market, women are screwed. Well, they are hitting the market. I did an article about that last summer, so it'll be interesting. Number 15, not all women. No, not all women are like that. Not all women are looking for the best time to screw up their husbands and take the kids in the house and all that. Not all women will make a false rape accusation. Not all ex-wives will deliberately alienate the kids for their fathers. But all women can do that, with full legal and societal support. Until it's no women, it's all women. Well, you have to always be prepared for that type of shit to happen. So guys, that's 15 of them. It's getting long. Got to take a break, but I will be back in 1 hour to continue on this very good learning experience here. I will see you then.